Hello and welcome to my Tomb Raider Legend Let's Play. Now, before we go anywhere and before you even consider letting this video go another step, listen to the Tomb Raider Legend main theme, which is what's playing at the moment, that I linked to in the original post. There's a YouTube video of it. It is absolutely brilliant, and it is a perfect example of one of the things I really love about this game, which is the music. And I'll go into who composed it and why I love it so much during the course of the game. But for now, just listen to that. And I won't spoil it by listening to this for any more period. Now, I'm going to start a new game, because although I can replay the levels, it's a bit pointless. You don't get to pick up the items again, and consequently most of the exploration is missed out on, and although you can have different looking outfits, it's generally not very interesting. So I'm going to start a new game. The difficulty is fairly irrelevant to Tomb Raider, so I'm going for hard, because mainly it just deals with enemy health, which is not a major problem anyway. And let's go. Yes, I do wish to continue. I'm going to let you watch the cutscenes without talking, because I believe that they give you a good idea of how the game's approach to storytelling is, although I don't particularly like this cutscene. It does include a stupid plur of the word Yeti as well.
Just because no one's ever caught one doesn't mean they're not real.
That is very true, but perhaps they don't wish to be found. I've heard they're rather fierce.
Yeti only look fierce. They probably don't like being so cold all the time. I shouldn't like it either.
You never have to be cold, my Lara, if you don't want to be.
Look!
Henry, what's happened?
Are we going to crash?
Not unless it's absolutely necessary. Close your eyes, darling.
I don't want to close my eyes.
I think you forgot your climbing gear on purpose.
What would give you that idea? Really, Zip. It's like going up a set of stairs, only far less boring.
Yeah? Well, I want to throw up every time you look down. Hey, Alistair's back. Grab a headset.
Back so soon? From Florence, wasn't it?
Decided on Genoa at the last minute. My dissertation will never see daylight at this rate, but never mind that. What are you doing in Bolivia?
Ascending. Alistair, 2 and up. She's a lovely pre-Incan civilization, currently in ruins.
Delighted.
I've been looking for certain artifacts. Well, for some time now. And an old friend working in the powers has tipped me off with a rather promising rumor.
What sort of artifacts?
An ornate stone dais, among other things.
A big rock, and she won't say why.
Oh well. Where would the suspense be otherwise?
And here we are. Now, before I say anything about the controls, I'm just going to quickly observe that the first findable object in this game, which is a bronze reward, is right here. Presumably just so you can get a good idea of what they look like, and that it's good to pick them up, complete with a sparkly noise. I can't disable the tutorial menus, unfortunately, so you're going to have to look at all those nice, pleasing help tips, although I might give you an idea what the controls are like. Now, one of the notable departures of this game from the games preceding it is it has a physics system, so we can kick things. Go on, Lara, kick that boulder a little harder, we can at least knock it off the edge. And because the spirit of Half-Life 2 was around at this juncture, there are in fact quite a few physics puzzles, some of them extremely annoying, and we'll come on to that in a moment. Anyway, before we cover any of that rubbish, let's discuss the controls. Now, it's a Tomb Raider game, so it's not going to be too drastic. Right-click pulls out guns and aims, left-click fires, space jumps, whee! Shift ducks and rolls as well. And then you can combine these into various different context-sensitive shenanigans, such as Pointless gymnastic flips, which are unfortunately stopped by walls. You can in fact infinitely loop those, and it serves no purpose in the game whatsoever. Another example of this pointless gymnastics would be the getting back up animations, which you can do some reasonably astonishing ones, like that. Although her normal one's far more efficient. So here we are in Bolivia, in the context of the game. It's the first mission, obviously. And it's very much a tutorial mission. They warm you up by introducing you slowly to everything as it comes along. There's some pretty next-gen water, complete with squares on it. Water!
That was lovely.
Indeed it was. Cutscene time.
Do me a favor and check your PDA.
It still works, if that's what you're wondering.
Cool. They said it was waterproof. You should be able to swim with it, no problem. Unless you eat it, then you'll have to wait, Maui.
Nice observation. As you might have guessed, the two people who are talking to you are actually talking to you via a little headset, which you can see by you scrolling. You can see it just there on her ear. It's also got a built-in camera, so that's their excuse for explaining how they can see what you're doing. You can mash E to move faster up and down things. In fact, mashing E is in general a feature of this game. The E is also the pick up and use button. Now, here's quite a good example of what I describe as the alternative routes method,
From the screen then.
which is quite frequently they have an obvious way to go and a less obvious way to go, and if you go the less obvious way, you get goodies! Or in some cases, it's just faster, I suppose, for the time trial horse. I don't particularly care about the time trials, I never even bother doing them, but I could probably give them a go if you wanted to, if there's demand. So here's our flashlight, activated with delete, or I rewound it to F, because I like F for flashlight. And here's our first silver award, pretty in silver. This is meant to be some kind of Aztec jib-jab, and, well, to be precise, Inca jib-jab, I think. And they are in fact quality coded. There are, in general, in most missions, twice as many bronze as silvers, and 1 gold, which you have to get by solving some kind of puzzle. The silvers are in general more obscure than the bronzes. Here's a nice little vista, giving you an idea of where to go. They do this early on to give you a clue. And haha, a boulder held by sticks. I wonder what that could do. We shall find out.
Careful.
Deep breath, Sip. This will be a long trip otherwise.
I forgot you were such an optimist.
It says in time with movements, but it means a mash. You can see there, Lara tilts her head to indicate which direction she's going to jump. Incoming rock. Boom.
That was too close.
As you might have guessed, your two goonish friends divide up into the classic effete Englishman and the slightly more wisecracking American, who's a black guy called Zip, who's also your chef.
I'm here, but I don't see no climber. Yeah, well, I can't shoot on sight if I can't see nobody. Got worked up thinking I could put someone down. Now there's nothing.
Double negative.
Hell yeah, I'll tell Rutland myself.
Here's our first experience of combat, and he is obviously a fairly generic guard of genericness. And that is bullet time! Even Tomb Raider's picked it up.
Any idea who he is or who he works for?
I haven't the foggiest. He's deliberately unremarkable.
Is that good or bad?
It's deliberate, which isn't good.
And here we get to demonstrate a rather pointless feature, which it just prompted me to show you, which is the binoculars. I never use the binoculars, but they can do some things. If you press E, it'll tell you which objects in the environment. So she'll say it's a mechanism, for example. That's a mechanism. And that's not. So you see that that tells you what kind of thing it is. I've never used it, but I suppose if you're new to the series and wanted to solve things, you might use it. It didn't come back in the succeeding games, so presumably it wasn't that popular. Birds. Now this is our first puzzle, and it's the first physics puzzle in the game. It is in fact, as you might have guessed, a huge lever, and we're going to drop something on it. Up there. And of course, a treat! Yum. Om nom nom. Slight FPS loss, I apologise. And by slight, I mean extreme, what the hell? One sec, I'll just let my computer quietly recover from a spasm. I think it might be my card quietly overheating.